Hey everybody, Johnny Disc Golf here, back with another offseason interview. This time, not a player, but the owner and founder of Dynamic Discs, Mr. Jeremy Rusco. How you doing, buddy?
Hey Corey, good to see you. Good to be here. Thanks for
hmm
thinking of me and Dynamic. Got a lot of exciting things going, and thrilled to be a part of the show today.
Yeah, I'm really actually excited to be able to chat with you. Usually I do players, but I think in light of recent events, a lot of announcements on your end, you're a perfect person to be talking to. First question though, probably seems obvious, but how has the offseason been?
Yeah, it's off season's always interesting. It almost feels like you're going to go into a slow time of the year. You're going to be able to clean some things up, scale things back, enjoy maybe just a little bit of off time.
hmm
And it never goes that way. Off season is actually in most regards busier than the regular season. Not in terms of sales, in terms of discs going out of the warehouse, going out of the retail store, online store. Certainly, we have a busy holiday season. Every disc golf company has a busy holiday season, I think. But
hmm
yeah, lots of moves, lots of things happening in this off season. I would say that it seems like every off season gets to be a little more dramatic, and this year was definitely one that seems to have a lot of movement, a lot of shaking, a lot of great things happening for disc golf, and that's
hmm
what we're going to talk about, I'm sure, coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you first things first. Myself and a lot of my viewers were very wrapped up in the professional disc golf world. It is like our biggest fandom. It's what we spend a lot of time thinking about. That would indicate to me that you guys have had one of the crazier, more hectic, busy off seasons. But from the insider's perspective, how much does the professional scene and a lot of the announcements you guys made make up the amount of work you do during the off season? Is this just like a small fraction and there's a bigger picture to be had here?
Yeah, great question. And, I think up until pre-pandemic, we put a lot of our focus, a lot of our time, effort, energy towards the professional disc golf scene. We were at events all the time, making a lot of our decisions based on what's happening there on we'll say the PDGA disc golf scene. And
hmm
during the pandemic, obviously, we all know disc golf exploded, an incredible of new people picking up the sport for the first time and just growing the sport by getting their friends, family out to play disc golf. And the disc golf pro tour shut down. Professional players had nowhere to go, nowhere to compete. Obviously, they
hmm
could continue to stay relevant through, we'll say, social media. And again, we saw tremendous growth during that time period. And so I guess we learned a little bit during that. We learned that there is definitely a disc golf scene that, and we knew this, but there's a disc golf scene that knows nothing of Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, any
hmm
of the top professional players. Now, the hope is that when a new player gets involved with disc golf, that as they start to learn more, as they start to get more involved, as they start to find stuff on social media, that they end up finding Ricky Wysocki, other top professional players, and obviously that's helped influence some of the decisions that we made this off season.
hmm Yeah, could you maybe speak a little bit to the renewed, I don't know what the right word is, but like renewed passion, dedication, commitment to signing some major players in the professional scene. In years past, you definitely were represented at a lot of events, and we saw the DD brand everywhere. But it wasn't like DD specifically had a lot of the top tier players. What changed this offseason?
Yeah, so we've, definitely had back, 2016, 2017, we had Ricky Wysocki, we had Paige Pierce. Obviously, some
hmm
things happen, some player movement happens. Player movement's great in most regards. I
hmm
think that it's important for players to move around a little bit from time to time when they feel like that support is not there for them with that specific company that they're at. Um, and yeah, so we took a little bit of a back seat, I guess you could
hmm
say, in some regards. Now, we certainly have had players that were competing at the top from time to
hmm
time, but I think we all know that you were not seeing dynamic discs frequently on lead card coverage or chase card coverage. And I think the thing is, we decided to take focus on building our infrastructure at Dynamic. We had a lot of growth going on. And we knew we needed to invest in our infrastructure, into our people, into our employees, and into increased benefits. And that really allowed us to be able to make the move that we made here this offseason. And we knew we wanted to get back to having some players contending at the top week in and week out. And we believe in the players that we picked up this offseason and are looking forward to a very, very exciting 2022 season.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to believe in the players that you signed. You know, when you signed 4, 5 of the top 25 players in the world, 30 players in the world, what went into finding those players specifically? Was it just like go down Innova's team chart and just like lift all of the team members, or like was that a specific thing, or just work out that way?
I'd say it just worked out that way. There was certainly no, we're going after Innova, we're going after, anything like that. Obviously, Eric McCabe, our team director, he's been bleeding Dynamic since day one over here, and won his first world title in 2010, which, certainly made a statement for Dynamic Discs. And essentially, I believe that Eric knows what's important for us as an organization, and knows what players are out there that, and we talk about, the touring players all the time, and we want to make sure that we're relevant. But McCabe absolutely got conversations going. And, I didn't think that we would be, we knew there was going to be a time where we were going to get some of these high profile players back on the Dynamic Discs side of things. I didn't think that it was going to happen in 2022, but as conversations started kind of happening more frequently and more interest was there, good things came together. And again, we're excited about who we got this off season, and going to be exciting to watch Disc Golf Network and all the coverage throughout the years. We're going to have more players on those lead card and chase card footages.
Yeah. I mean, no question. I mean, just the Ricky and Kona signings alone, they were featured on, it seemed like 2/3 probably of coverage overall. Could you speak to the promotional side of things? Because, you make the signings, all that's great. The decision to publicize the contracts, that seems like a big step in any company's direction. And it usually seems like it's spurred by the player. And this time it almost seemed like it was pushed by Dynamic Discs. Was that intentional?
I'm not sure exactly what you've heard or seen or whatnot, but I don't think so. In terms of ultimately, it's the way that we see it is we want to support the player and help the player in their decisions. And to me, it seemed like Ricky and Kona, in this instance, absolutely wanted it to be public information with where their contract was, and we felt like that was a-okay to do. And I do think that more contracts should start to become we'll say public knowledge, because I think that it's encouraging for the future generation of the sport to know what is on the table out there as being a professional disc golfer. And the thought that you can make the amount of money that these players are making now, going out playing disc golf, being a good promoter of disc golf and of your brand and your company or your sponsor's brand. To know that these players are making this amount of money is a really cool time for disc golf. And I can't wait for a few more of these big contracts to come out to just fuel more people wanting to get involved.
Yeah, I think just knowing the numbers like this, it just is encouraging for like any 14, 15, 16-year-old who's like got an edge, got some skill, but maybe they're also a high school baseball player or something, and they don't know which to focus on. How about the $250,000 signing bonus? So this is something that I want to talk about. 2 regards. One, we'll start with the fact that it's in Bitcoin. I know DD. I know a lot of the people involved with DD. That's not something I'm thinking came from Dynamic Discs. Talk to me about that decision. Talk to me about, did you have to figure out how to even buy Bitcoin to give it to him?
Yeah, correct. Well, obviously you nailed it. That was not something that we had thought of, and I thought it was really
Hmm.
cool when Ricky said, "Hey, I'd like my signing bonus to be in Bitcoin," and it's like, okay, yeah, how do we do this? Let's make this happen. And then Ricky helped us guide it, guide us through the way of making it happen. And
Hmm.
I'm yeah, I think it's a pretty cool, different, step for disc golf, and it definitely is something that he's very passionate about.
Hmm.
And I know the next thing that we're doing now is discussing accepting Bitcoin or other crypto on dynamicdisc.com so that people can actually shop with crypto. And I don't know
Hmm.
enough about that, but I would expect that before too long, you can start sending that Bitcoin back our way.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'm kind of in the same boat as you though, where like maybe there's like a cursory understanding of the whole thing, but like I don't know if I'm at the level where I would want a signing bonus in Bitcoin. Yeah, I just don't know that I'm there yet. Was there any reservations or hesitancy from your end to go down that road, or was it like, hey, Ricky, you want it? Let's do it, buddy.
Hey, Ricky, you want it? Let's do it, buddy.
Okay, well then this leads me to the second perspective on the signing bonus. Obviously Ricky left his Innova contract early. I've heard that there's not really a lot of conversation to be had about the terms of leaving early, but two things. One, I'm curious if there was a buyout from DD's perspective to end the contract early. I know in other sports that's pretty common, and I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to happen here in disc golf. And then two, is there anything in the contract to keep Ricky from just doing this again in 2 years and kind of like pocketing the signing bonus?
Yeah, so some of those details are still getting worked out between Ricky and Innova, and we'll just say the lawyers that are in discussion to get things sorted out. Ultimately, Ricky felt like he had a brighter
Mm-hmm.
future with Dynamic, and I know that he definitely values the transparency that we have and values the family atmosphere that we have. And obviously, he's felt very at home right away, which has been really encouraging. And so, I'm certain that those details are going to get sorted out between Ricky and Innova. And in terms of the future of that, yeah, I mean, looking back, we had Paige Pierce
Mm-hmm.
walk away from her Dynamic Discs sponsorship contract agreement, whatever you want to refer to it as. And our take on it at that point in time was we were upset with that. We certainly did not want to see Paige go. We were willing to do substantially more for her because we continue to see her value as a player
Mm-hmm.
and promoter and influencer going up. But she was ready to leave. Her heart was elsewhere, and that's what we wanted to support her with. And so we didn't do anything. We didn't pursue any sort of legal action or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's some, as time progresses, there's some different feelings now with where these things are going, and I completely get that. And so what we've done is make it very clear that if Ricky or Kona, because these contracts are getting up there in value, if they want to breach their contract, if they want to leave early, it spells out what that looks like for
Mm.
them, and it's very clear. It's not a well, we think it should be this, two
Okay.
parties disagreeing with each other on what it is. It's, hey, we both agreed to this up front, and I can promise you we're going to be getting some Bitcoin back if
Okay.
and beyond.
Yeah.
It's important to keep in mind that Ricky's contract is a million a year minimum guarantee, and Ricky can certainly make way over that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the way that the deal is structured has a lot to do with Saki Bomb branded stuff selling, and so say his stuff isn't as popular or as cool as he and we think it is, and not as much of it sells.
Mm-hmm.
To meet that, we'll say million. Ricky still gets paid that million. But if he leaves, there's going to be some that'll get sorted out on the back end, I guess you could
Sure.
say. And so, yeah, I think the future of this is absolutely, going to be moving in this direction where it's very clear what it means to break a contract early. Because on the manufacturer side, on the sponsor side, we're making significant investments on our end to, have Ricky and Kona be at the top of our media marketing, promotion, advertising. We've actually had a new graphic designer that just started last Monday, moved in from Illinois. We have a new media marketing hire coming in, moving in from Mexico, which is actually very cool. I
That's
feel
great.
like getting a more diverse work environment at Dynamic is something that we're always striving to do. And bringing in Fabian for that is going to be super cool. And so, we're adding more to our team to make sure that we can keep up with Ricky and Kona and the additional, team members that we have at Dynamic. And so it's important to just keep in mind that it's not just we're making investments on our end
Mm-hmm.
to further support them. And we certainly hope that we grow Ricky's brand, the Zaki Brahm brand more, and Kona's brand more. And part of that is making sure that we've got the support network on our end to make that a reality.
Yeah, and one thing that really has like stuck out in this whole kind of 2 week media marketing blitz that DD has been coming out with is the trilogy family. The trilogy family. I've heard it from maybe every single person that you guys have signed, and from you, and from the presser. Like, really, is the trilogy family kind of like a mantra that you guys are really trying to push? Because I had maybe heard it like, oh, it's the family that, but like it seems like it's really like that's kind of a push you guys made with your players, be part of the family. And like, Mason, Val, I know you guys made a push for Colton as well to kind of get the family together. Like, has that been a marketing push for you? Is that something you guys are really diving into?
Well, I think that just goes back to really like day one of things for Dynamic and Latitude 64. I mean, I got Dynamic started just as a college hobby back in
Mm-hmm.
2005. So it was just, we'll say my family supporting me. But then as that grew to having, some of the first employees, including Eric McKay being the first sponsored player, where we've got a lot of family that's involved with Dynamic. My brother is our director of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Bjerkes is now president of Dynamic Discs, and his wife works for Dynamic. And obviously, we know Paige Bjerkes Shoe
Mm-hmm.
became a world champion herself. And we've got multiple family relationships at Dynamic. And then over at Latitude 64, they're just a family in the same sense. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the big things for us is, we don't have big contracts we don't have a contract with each other. We have a handshake agreement. It started back in 2012 with them. We still got a handshake agreement. We're open, honest, transparent, and we treat one another like family. And that's Ricky and Kona, you heard it I think 100 times. They felt that love. They felt that family atmosphere, and that doesn't just extend. That doesn't just start with them. Obviously, it finishes with them at this point, I guess you could say. But just our entire atmosphere, our entire work culture is about that, and it's really cool to see. And I think it makes every day refreshing to come into work and know that it's different than your typical work environment. Not saying every work environment is that way, but we're disc golf is family, and it's really amazing how small the disc golf world really is and how much it can connect with each other. And the family that we've got at Dynamic, Latitude, West Side, the Trilogy family, I think really it goes a long way, and it's something special to be a part of. And back to talking about when players feel like it's time to go, if you don't feel like you're a part of the family for whatever reason it might be, we want to wish you the best, and we want you to go find that family elsewhere. And we're going to keep our family going strong, and there's going to be some ups and downs and some bumps along the way, but here we are, and it's 2022. We got a lot of exciting things happening.
Absolutely. And just like on a personal level, I really resonate with that family aspect. Just personal story side here. In Golden Gate Park, my home course, I just live right next to it here in San Francisco, public, free-to-play course, the only course in city limits. So really there's nowhere to hide. Like if you want to play disc golf and you're here, you're going to be at the course. And there's some issues, there's different cultures, the whole thing. And one thing that we really try and focus on is, disc golf is family, and the Golden Gate Park, like That's a family out there, SFDGC, and you can't necessarily control every single person that's in your family. You might have a crazy uncle that comes over for Thanksgiving, and you just got a deal. And it's important to remember that, it's like
Yeah.
we should love each other, and you can't just exclude someone or it is a family. So I actually have really resonated with that message, coming through. So I appreciate you spelling it out for me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the video that you guys released for Kona and Ricky. It was a spectacle on multiple fronts. One, it was incredibly highly produced, like very professional. Coming from somebody who makes videos and media, like I appreciated the heck out of it just from how clean it looked, how professional, intentional. It was clearly you guys didn't just slap something together. There was also a literal helicopter ride inside, right? So that's like a whole nother thing in its own. But I want to start by asking, like, who did you work with? Was it a local production company? Did you farm out? How did you get that thing done?
Yeah, huge shout out to GK Pro. They're the ones that handled the both of those videos, and we were on a tight timeline in most regards, and they were able to, and yeah, long story there, but yeah, tight timelines, and having them deliver what they delivered, I think was super special. And I feel like I'm missing a part of the question. So
no, it's all good. So this is my second part of the question: literal helicopter ride. So I know, because I've flown into DDO a billion times at this point. You fly into Kansas City and then you rent a car and you drive 2 hours down. So my question: was that a plane ride into Kansas City, get on a helicopter and bring him down? Or was that like Emporia Regional and just like boom, down to the thing?
Let's just keep that one as a mystery. But yeah, I mean, some people would ask, why'd you do a helicopter? And what we were actually hoping to do. So I got to fly on a Black Hawk helicopter. I think it was about 2 years ago. And it was very, very cool. It was essentially, we got the Kansas National Guard that's based out of Emporia. We have a division here in Emporia, and we were hoping to be able to have a training exercise for that, where Ricky and Kona would be a part of the training exercise on delivering VIP, very important people. And anyway, we were actually very optimistic, not just ourselves, but some of the people that can push that through, that it would be able to happen. And unfortunately, it wasn't able to happen. So we did have to get a commercial helicopter for Ricky and Kona. But we decided to be a fun, unique way to, make it where it's like, oh man, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this, because who rides in a helicopter to Dynamic Discs headquarters? And there were different storylines that we were wanting to do, but at the end of the day, what you saw is what we got, and we were thrilled with the way that came out. And I just think it was for Ricky and Kona, that they you could tell that they really enjoyed flying around and doing all that. And just again, a big shout out to the GK Pro team for piecing all that together and making things look good. And I certainly enjoyed. I wasn't planning on riding in the helicopter, but I ended up wanting to take a front seat ride with that for quite a bit of the time, which was super cool too.
Yeah, and it really, like, with all these contracts coming out publicly and for significant amount of money at this point, it feels like a new era of professional disc golf. And to me, just seeing the helicopter, seeing like the pageantry with it all, really spoke to that new era. Dynamic Discs, I think, as far as like around the tour, and I think like in general, you're not known as somebody who like pours money into the players and into the team, especially at the top. It's much more family based and want to make sure everyone's getting taken care of. And so like seeing that helicopter really was like, whoa, this is a different level. This is a different story that we're going to be hearing now. Was that part of the decision, or was it just helicopters are sweet?
It's a different dynamic. DD.
Yep. I love it. I love that.
Turning a new chapter this year in 2022. And yeah, we just changing things up a little bit for try to have some fun.
Yeah. Well, I love it, and it's beautiful, and I can't wait to see really how everyone performs with the new discs. That's all of this talk aside, it comes down to, how's Mason going to throw a truth? How's Ricky going to throw a felon again? And that's something I wanted to touch on a little bit, is the Ricky Wysocki, the Saki Bomb line of discs. They bear striking resemblance to some plastic he was throwing just last year, white in the middle, colored rims. I'm not going to say an indeterminate plastic name, over there, but what goes into developing a new plastic like that for Ricky and for anyone, really?
Well, I guess you could say a lot goes into it. Obviously, our trust, and the way that most of this stuff works out is with Latitude 64 being our manufacturing partner. Thomas Ekstrom over there is the genius behind the scenes of making a lot of that work, and the whole team over at Latitude 64. There's certainly more people involved in that, but they've obviously been developing and working on different things for many years. And in terms of the Saki Bomb lineup, we are absolutely going to be coming out with, what came out for the initial announcement was not the Saki Bomb lineup. There is going to be a specific plastic blend that is per Ricky specifications. Could be adjustments to the molds, will be, some brand new molds. We've got a lot in the works to support his brand and support the Saki Bomb lineup, and we're thrilled for those things to start coming to fruition. Part of that stuff, just takes time, and the cool thing about it is it will be up to Ricky's specifications and his standards, and I think that the disc golf community is absolutely going to love picking up some Saki Bomb discs. Which is, the interesting thing about that is, Ricky throws like almost nobody can throw.
Yeah.
Right. Yet people want what Ricky is throwing.
So that is actually a great point. And I'm actually so glad that you mentioned that, because like a felon is quite an overstable disc for 99% of the population. Then you guys come out with a Lucid X Felon or Fusion that is like stiffer and more overstable in response to what your professionals want. But like, how do you as a company determine which you want to focus on? Like, should we skew towards the top end of the spectrum, or like make a disc that's accessible for everyone? How do you like make that decision on what new disc to make?
Oh boy, lots of discussion. I mean, in all reality, it really just depends on who you're marketing to, who you're trying to target that disc to. Obviously, a few years ago, if you reference back to the retired molds that happened at Dynamic, we retired quite a few discs because they, for whatever reason, lost popularity. People weren't buying them. Maybe we were not getting the products in front of the right people at the right time. So it's just kind of gonna have to do a little bit of everything. Gonna have to have a diverse lineup of discs, and also make sure that to whatever extent people can understand that what works for Ricky might not be what works for your skill set. And I think there's almost a never-ending battle of how that all comes together. But good thing we've got a lot of YouTube videos and online tutorials and those sorts of things. And it's I remember when I first started playing disc golf, Eric McCabe, his number one main disc was the Discraft. He was sponsored by Discraft. Obviously he won his world title throwing Discraft discs, because that was before Dynamic was actually having discs manufactured for us. Anyway, McCabe's disc main driver was a Predator. And I was like, okay, cool. I got to get me a Predator. I got a Predator, and just, doesn't fly anywhere for me. And, I was throwing probably 275 feet at the time. And it was like, how can this be a good disc? I can't figure this out. And this would have been back in 2005, really before there were much for YouTube videos and things like that. And I was just so fresh into the game that, but McCabe helped talk me through some things as to why the Predator is not going to be my best disc. I needed the 150 class, whatever. So,
well, listen, talking about or speaking about that era in DD and your life and Eric's life, I wanted to kind of close this out by talking about how far you've really come, because I played a couple years ago. I was hanging in Emporia doing a couple of freelance things for DD after GBO one year, and I played Hammond Park with Eric McCabe. We kind of played a couple laps and we're just chit-chatting, and he started telling me the story of DD and how that's where, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love for you to correct me. In college, you lived in a house that was in that park before there was baskets there. It was just a park, and people would go hang out in the park and throw discs out of your garage just to like practice them. And now it's become a disc golf course, and now Emporia Country Club is right there, and DD is what it is. So, you know, these headlines, you know, you're branding the fact that you're going to spend $4 million. Like, how has, not how the things changed, but what does it feel like to like be in charge of such a big ball of motion 15, 20 years later?
Well, it's been quite the wild ride. You know, really rewarding, really exciting. Certainly didn't get Dynamic Disc started because I thought it was going to become what it is today. But just as things kept growing, as things kept staying fun, you know, as long as that was one of my things. I remember Bobby Brown, cool daddy sleep priest. He's like, I want us to become number one. You know why? You know, and I'm like, you know, I think number two might be fine. You know, or not, you know, number three. I don't. Well, why don't we just become number one? And I said, well, because the more you do, the more stressful things get, the more serious things become, the more corporate you might become, and I don't want us to lose that fun atmosphere, that family atmosphere. I don't want us to become that corporate giant where people don't enjoy coming into work as much as they do. And so I said, you know, we'll just keep going the way we're going, and as long as we're enjoying what we're doing, we're going to keep growing. And we certainly have grown a tremendous amount over the years. This last 2 years was just really incredible to see what all came together and what we can do as an organization, as a company. And I just really do believe in our staff. We have a tremendous amount of motivated, passionate individuals that want to do great things. They want to be good people. They want to continue to see disc golf grow. They want to see us grow because they know that they're going to keep growing along the way with us. And so been a fun journey, fun adventure. I've recognized and realized that I need to continue to give more people the tools that they need to make decisions on their own, and support them through those decisions. One of those decisions here recently was restructuring our organization so that fewer people felt like they needed to come through me to talk about things or make decisions, and ultimately restructured it to where Doug Bjerkes became president of Dynamic Discs, and Dynamic, the umbrella Dynamic, because Dynamic Distribution is our warehouse business to business operation. And then having some directors underneath of that, where he and I stay in closer communication with the directors and the board level members. And anyway, it's been a good change for me. I'm 16 months into fatherhood now, so I need to make sure that I find that work-life balance and support my family as well, and putting in a good, honest work week, not overdoing it, making sure that I can hopefully check out, spend some time helping to raise a good kid. I think is very important, and that the timing was just right for me and my family to get things going there. And it's been, really rewarding along the way. And I just I can't thank the disc golf community enough. It's, again, this is a passionate group of people that we love being a part of. We love feeling like we're involved in growing disc golf. We feel like we are doing great things. And it's just been exciting to see the support that we continue to get day in and day out as we keep growing along the way.
Yeah. And I love it. I love DD, and I love being a part of all the events and all just the energy and like the uncorporateness of it. Like you said, I really actually, when you were saying that, it really resonated with me. Like you can feel, I can feel that from Dynamic Discs, just the just the family and comfortability of it all. And so I really appreciate and respect what you guys are doing over there. I don't have a ton more for this interview, but you just mentioned it, and I want to kind of end it on a little warm and fuzzy. Talk to me. Is this first time fatherhood for you?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
18 months in, this is like pretty much a pandemic fatherhood for you. What's it been like? How's life changed over the last 18 months?
Yeah, 16 months in,
Or
which
16,
time,
excuse me. Sorry.
time flies. Again, I'm 38 years old. My wife's 37. Obviously, when you talk about getting a family going, that's on the end of most people's or beyond the spectrum of when they want to get started. But we knew that it would be important for us to feel like we were able to settle down, raise a family that has good morals and values, and that we're able to spend the time we want to spend helping to help them grow up. And so, yeah, it's actually the pandemic was the best thing that could have happened for us in terms of starting our family, because I used to travel all the time. Used to go all over the place. I loved it. I absolutely love traveling, and that's kind of the disc golf lifestyle, right? You go
Yeah. Oh
travel, you
yeah.
go see a lot of cool things, you go meet a lot of cool people,
Mm-hmm.
you make those friends that soon become family in a short amount of time. And anyway, obviously, as we all know, we couldn't travel, and
Yeah.
so there was no FOMO moments on not
Mm-hmm.
being somewhere, which was good to, because there wasn't, we needed to be home. And so
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
fast forward to, today, 16 months into fatherhood, it's really cool to be doing, to be a father. And I certainly hope that Hampton's his name. I hope that he wants to get out there and throw some discs on the course. I think he will. If he doesn't want
Yeah,
to
I
be a
think
disc
so
golfer,
too.
if he doesn't want to be a disc golfer, that's just fine. But I'm 100% certain that we're going to be out there, out at Hammond Park playing disc golf
Mm-hmm.
before too long. And it's been a fun little adventure there, and I'm looking forward to continuing to help him be raised as a good quality human being.
Hey, I mean, that's all we can ask for, right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on. So
I think he's going to probably start working at Dynamic at about age 5.
Oh, okay. Listen, there's got to be child labor laws at play here. Come on, Jeremy. 5 might be
Okay.
a little
Okay.
young.
Yep.
Well, unpaid, right? Then there's no labor, Yeah.
Exactly. It's almost like daycare at that point, right?
I love it. I love it. Oh man, really, Rusco, I appreciate the heck out of your time. I know you've got a million things juggling, so taking the time to have this chat, I think, is really appreciated. But that's pretty much all I have for my end of the interview. I wanted to open up the floor to you. If there's something that maybe we didn't cover, or if you just want to say thanks and any shout outs that you'd want to give.
Johnny Disc Golf, Corey, thank you for
Mm-hmm.
what you continue to do. Obviously, people love tuning into what you've got going on. You're all over the place, and
Thank you.
2022 is going to be just an incredible year. One of my favorite things to just continue to see is there's been a lot of people who have been really working hard to continue to push the media aspect of the sport, and you being one of those guys that's been right there along the way. And what
Mm-hmm.
we have today is with the Disc Golf Network and all the post-produced coverage is really incredible. It's the media value on watching the broadcasts is just from where it was even like 3-4 years
Yeah.
ago to what it is today. It's really enjoyable to just sit down and watch the coverage. All the commentary is great. It's going from card to card to card to player. It's really incredible to see. And I look forward to, disc golf continuing to become that much more of a sport that you can just sit down on your couch on a weekend and watch.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with ESPN getting more involved, CBS Sports certainly expect some of that stuff's going to happen. But an exciting time to be involved in the sport. Again, we're really appreciative of all of the support that we have with Dynamic, Latitude, and Westside. It's been an exciting time for us. We're excited to support these players and their new chapters as they come and join the Dynamic Disc family. And I think that's about all I got. It's been a lot of fun, and Appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Yeah. Again, thank you for all that you do and the company and the family does. Really, it wouldn't be the scene that we have today if it wasn't for, me and my people in the media, but you and you guys on the distribution and manufacturer side. It's such a symbiotic relationship. And I'm just so thankful for disc golf, in a similar way to you. Like, this has changed my life. This has been changed into my career, my hobby, my identity, how I define myself when speaking to others. And you're part of that. And I just want to say I appreciate you and everything that you guys have done. Guys, yeah, that is about all I have for this interview. If you want to get coverage of all things disc golf, though, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.